This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Welcome to the Ghee Spot Podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us for conversations around sex, spirit, and all things self-care. All things self-care. All things self-care.
This is a journey into sound.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
You are a Ghee Spot Podcast with Katie Silcox.
Hey beauties, welcome to the Ghee Spot. Beautiful winter morning here in Virginia. We've got snow. I hope it's beautiful where you find yourself. This beautiful podcast today, we're going to be talking about Iroquois Nation, the native people, and the words before all else. So definitely want to get this little tool in your toolkit. But before we do, a little word from our sponsor, Banyan Botanicals. Today we are focusing on stress ease. You can save 15% on their incredible formula that helps reduce stress ease, by visiting banyanbotanicals.com/Katie. What a cute little code. Check that stuff out. And if you're curious about your unique Ayurvedic mind-body constitution, which I know so many of you know already, you've read my book, some of you are in my course, but some of you are completely new to this and you're like, I don't know anything about my Ayurvedic mind-body type. Banyan has a really great free dosha quiz, and we are going to give you guys a link to their free dosha quiz in the show notes, so make sure you check that out. Stress ease and the dosha quiz. We're also brought to you by Ahara Ghee. You know that when I say that name, you see a smile on my face because their ghee is really different from any other ghee on the market. They source from artisan butter makers. They are organic, grass-fed, cultured, and flame cooked. That's amazing. That is the highest quality ghee on the market. And they have a really unique process. They stubbornly continue to use an open fire, an open flame, even though it's really a lot harder than using big stainless dairy steam vats. And they do this because of the taste. And I think you guys know they also work with beautiful mantras played throughout the cooking process. I mean, come on. Get that ghee, link in the show notes, and they give us a beautiful little discount. So that's our sponsorship, which I love them. I'm very proud of our sponsors and definitely stand behind them. Thanks for listening to that. And now I want to talk about this Iroquois Thanksgiving address I learned from my nature mentor, Hubnot, and it has been really incredibly just touching and a tantric technique of profound relevance for the time that we find ourselves in. You know, I just saw the news yesterday morning of the killing of the general in Iran, and I know many of you are feeling, especially our American listeners, the sorrow over that, just the deep sorrow around how we just continue thinking that killing will lead to peace. And we need to find peace in our own hearts and minds. Really, it's an inside job. It starts with us. And this prayer, this address, if you will, from the native people really changes the energetic of the group quicker than anything I've ever found. And this address, this prayer, this invocation was used as a way to settle into unity before we began to work with our issues and our problems. And it's something that I've been trying to really integrate into my morning meditation. And I want to teach it to you guys. And it was given to my mentor, Hub, and given to us, and really given permission to share with the world. And I want to give you guys, if you want it printed up, we're going to give you a little link to it that goes back to the Mohawk people. So we're always wanting to remember the source, honor the source, and support the source. So what is this words before all else? It's essentially a prayer of thanksgiving, and its roots go back to when the great law of peace was brought to the people by what the tribes call the peacemaker, who is an Iroquois prophet and statesman and lawgiver, and they intentionally do not name his name. And today there are so many variations on these words, and they're spoken at different times of the year, but they're often spoken at the beginning of ceremonial meetings or even like governmental meetings. Imagine if our government prayed this prayer or spoke this prayer before they meet. And so it essentially goes, we sit together and we want to first just bring our awareness to our own minds and hearts and bodies as we come together as people to give greetings and thanks to one another as people. Taking that in for a moment, just if we could come together all right now, those of you listening to the Key Spot right now, right? You're a part of this gathering, this ceremonial gathering. And I want you to bring to mind the people in your life that you're really grateful for. And as you do that, our minds and hearts start to become one. We bring our awareness to the great Mother Earth. She gives us everything that we could ever need. She provides for all of her Earth's creatures. We bring our minds to the rocks of the earth and how the rocks are sort of like the bones and the structure of the earth. We bring our minds to the waters and the fish in the water and the role that these fish creatures play in the purification of the water, and how their fish are so, they're the food for so many of us, right? We bring our minds to the plants, and as far as the eye can see, the plants are always growing. I've heard them being described as the Buddhas that are all around us. They're just here in presence, rooted in the ground, offering up their leaves and taking in everything that we breathe out and transforming it into oxygen that we can use. And the trees, and just how many times, I've looked out into my backyard and seen this big sycamore tree and just leaned up against its back and taken such comfort in the stability and steadiness of trees. And you may be listening and thinking of the trees that have played a role in your life, and the plants that give us food, right? Since the beginning of time, the vegetables and berries and leaves and all of the wheat and corn that have, we give a hard time to, but that have sustained so many of our people throughout the beginning of time. We get our strength from these plant foods, and modern science is showing the way that plants can turn on and off certain genes, turning on the ones for healing and turning off the ones for disease. And just what a miracle the plants are, and just feeling a lot of grateful feelings for the plants this morning. Feeling gratitude for the medicinal herbs. Oh my goodness. Just the way that humans have been interacting with the medicinal herbs since the beginning of time, and the way that we're still in so much debt to these herbs, and so many of even the pharmaceutical medications that some of them do save our lives, right? We in the Ayurveda and nature community can be a little hard on pharmaceuticals, but they've helped a lot of people. And they were many of them based on actual medicinal plants. And then just the herbs, I know they've played such a huge role in my life. The ashwagandha and the tulsi and the rose and the California poppy and the skullcap and, the nettles and just all of these herbs. I could go on and on and on. I feel a wave of gratitude rising up, and maybe you can take a moment to just feel into the gratitude for the medicinal plants in your life. And the animals, oh my goodness, we gather our minds and hearts right now in the gratitude for the animals and just how much they have to teach us. I can look out from my bedroom into my backyard, and what a gift to have these windows into this other world, this animal world where we in Virginia have the squirrels and the redbird and the deer and the fox and the raccoon and the bear, and it's just so sweet, right? The little frogs, and you can maybe think of the animals that, and maybe even your pets, right? These animals that we have a relationship to and how much they teach us. And the oceans and the rivers and these waters of the world, and the way, for me, the ocean just, I can be in the worst place and I get myself to the ocean and dive in and feel the way that salt water just starts to remind me of where I came from my mother's womb. And she takes me and she purifies me, and just sensing into bodies of water that have played a role in your life and just feeling grateful for those bodies of water. I'm thinking about the Cow Pasture River in Virginia, and so many of you have gone on my retreats there, and I call it the Ganges of Virginia, just how much I value that river and how sacred it's been for so many of the women that have gone through my programs, and other bodies of water around me. And you may take a moment to just feel really grateful for the water. And these little birds, the bird creatures as their own separate entity, and the way that one of the things I love when we do this with my nature group is that my teacher Hub will say, the birds do their dawn song in the morning as the sun rises, and they start to do their dawn song. And how, if you think about how the sun moves across the planet, there's essentially a bird song of the morning happening all across the earth, and how that 24-hour cycle is just a 24-hour wave of bird song. And I just thought that is one of the most beautiful concepts and realities that I've ever contemplated. And maybe you just want to take a moment to be grateful for the birds and the way that so often in our life, like a hawk will fly by, or you'll see one of these big birds of prey in these moments when you need them. And we just want to give all of our gratitude to that. And the winds, the four directions, and how they come and bring us messages and give us strength. We want to bring our gratitude to the sun and the way that, my goodness, our dear solar father, right, rising every single day from the east to the west without fail, always bringing us light, source of all warmth, source of fire, source of growth. We just want to send all of our love and salutations to the sun and the moon. We bring our mind to the moon, the oldest grandmother who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world. She has a way of uniting all women because she brings us together in the way she governs the tides of our bodies, menstrual cycle, and how that pull changes the biochemistry of our body. Every month, we as women, we become 4 different people throughout her 4 cycles. Oh, I'm getting a wave of gratitude for that ocean tide pull of Grandmother Moon. By her changing face, women have learned to measure their cycles, and people have learned to measure time. So we send so much gratitude for the moon and the stars that spread themselves out across the sky like so much crystalline jewelry. There's that quote, I can't remember who says it, that if the stars only came out once a night, we would all know when that night was, and we would pull our lawn chairs out into the middle of the yard to watch the spectacle. But instead we watch TV and forget about them. So we just bring our hearts to that guiding presence of the stars, and the way there were so many beings across our human history who looked at them and understood astrology and directionality and been able to read the stars. We bring our minds and hearts to all of our mentors and teachers who come to us and through us, including the Iroquois people who gathered and created this Thanksgiving address, but also all of our elders from all traditions across the planet. When we forget how to live in light, when we forget how to live in love, when we forget how to live in harmony, they bring us back together and teach us. And I believe that we need our teachers more than ever at this time on the planet. Those of us that are on the planet teaching unity and teaching love and teaching harmony and teaching oneness are more important than ever. And we just bring all of our gratitude to that. And lastly, we bring our love and our hearts to the great creator, the natives called the Great Spirit or the Great Mystery. In the tantric tradition, the Brahma, right? This Lord above all else, this one who goes by 1,000 different names and also who is nameless, this God or goddess, this great creator. We bring all of our greetings and thank you for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live an abundant, sweet, nectarian life. Everything is here through the Mother Earth and the Father Mind, for all the love that is around us, the thing that is holding every single cell in your body together, the thing that unites our own body matrix is love. The thing that's keeping us together is love. And so we just gather our minds together and send our best words, our finest, choicest words to that great creator. We ask that you be with all the listeners today of the Ghee Spot and that you fill our minds and hearts this morning with your love nectar, and that nectar is the thing that's going to keep us going through these tough times. We live in the Kali Yuga, which is the time of darkness, but we are on the end of it, and we actually live in the transition from Kali to Sat Yuga, this time of truth and knowledge, and that transition time can look really, really messy. So for those of you out there listening, I want to just remind you that you are in the transition time. And if you're listening to this podcast, you are most likely a bringer in of the Sat Yuga, this time of love and knowledge. And just remind yourself of that when things look tough. And now we have arrived at the place where we can just end our words, and we've named so many things, and by all means this is not everything we could have named. And if you want to stop this recording and just think about like some more things that you want to be grateful for, and it really helps to say it out loud and to do this prayer each morning is going to change your life. And to do this prayer when you meet with people can also be incredibly important. It has a way of bringing our hearts and minds together. And as I said, you can purchase a booklet of the Thanksgiving address, and we're going to give you some links from the Tracking Project and the Mohawk people craft shop on the show notes where they're sold for $6, and it just helps also give our love and support to these people that are incredibly important in this shift in consciousness on the planet right now. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to check out the links in the show notes for Banyan, for the beautiful Aharagi, and for Ayurveda School and Lineage of Love if you're interested in how you can be a part of the Shakti School and to be in our year-long apprenticeship program. Check out the link. All right, beauties, have a beautiful day and see you next week.
फूटे फूल अपन सुखे फूटे फूल